Hey, welcome back. It's a terrific Tuesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. Just before we get into this segment, it seems there's a little breaking news. Mike Pence was called back to the White House for an emergency meeting. Vladimir Putin is also saying that he's got an emergency meeting. So something's going on out there. We'll get all that news. Frankie's checking in on it, and we'll get it back to you. Dow Jones down just a smidge today, down 23 points, but holding that 26.7 level. And Bitcoin's bouncing all around, and it needs a little stabilization here. And when we need to stabilize an issue, we bring in one man. It's Manny Alicandro, famous New York attorney, ran for New York City public advocate. Manny, thanks for joining us on Liquid Lunch again.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Manny, you're representing Brandon Straka. And Brandon Straka is a homosexual male who's a lifelong Democrat, voted for Hillary Clinton. And he decided that the liberal media was so unfair and untruthful that he decided to walk away from the Democratic Party. And he started the walk away movement. And he tried to be an advocate for people to walk away from the lies that he perceived in the media and the intolerance that we see for President Trump. And as soon as he did that, it seems like the groups that he was part of, the LGBTIQ groups, they kicked him out. They sent him packing. They threw him out of his group. His AA sponsor dropped him as a sponsor. And what gives here? Where's the tolerance?
Thanks for having me. So there's big problems in our democracy. Really, our democracy is under siege and under attack. So Brandon, as you mentioned, started the Walkaway Foundation. He's a creator and founder of the Walkaway Foundation and the Walkaway Movement. He did a video that went viral last year, and it was a tremendous success. And he has a big following. Effectively, what happened was he conducts these town halls, and he has a big following. He gets anywhere from 300 to 500 people and upwards of that to attend these events. He's scheduled to do an event earlier this year at a location. And unfortunately, that organization that was hosting the event, literally just hosting it in terms of using the space, once they found out about him, they undertook a smear campaign to defame him and discriminate against him and cancel the event.
So just because he's no longer a Democrat, they won't even let him use the venue. They're basically saying that you're no longer welcome here because you're no longer a Democrat and you support Donald Trump.
Essentially, what they're saying is, look, we don't agree with how you view the world, and we don't agree with your message. And his message is very clear, John. His message is about empowerment. His message is about freedom and expression, and freedom of expression, right?
I think we have Brandon joining us now via Skype. Do we have Brandon? There's Brandon Straka. Hey, Brandon, welcome. Welcome to Liquid Lunch. Manny and I are just sitting here. Manny and I are just sitting here talking about the craziness going on in your life. And lifelong Democrat, you turn around and start the walk away movement because you're not happy with the intolerance of the media on the left. And all of a sudden, you're persona non grata in your own community. What gives?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something that we see not just if you're LGBT, but I think if you're any minority class of person in this country, if you're
So what other fallout has there been? I know you got one of the best attorneys around here. I'm going to talk to him about what damages we're going to go after with these guys. And we're here for you to talk about the cause anytime you want, because the left will never talk about this stuff. And if you need a platform, we're here for you. But what else are they doing to you right now?
We're talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Okay. So my event in Chicago was canceled recently, citing that we're a hate group, a fascist organization. We were canceled for hate speech, and which really kind of threw us in a very difficult position. This is the same exact thing that we endured when we were in New York City with the same event. And then these things sort of compile in a way, because once you're labeled a hate group or a fascist organization in the press, it makes it nearly impossible for you to be able to work in the future. And then this is what we do. So it's sort of the precedent has been set at this point, and now it's become very, very difficult for us to do our job.
Seems like they poisoned the pool. Manny, I believe in New York there was a African-American person that was on the panel. So how could Brandon be labeled a racist or a fascist when part of his team that's there to talk to these people is African-American?
You're right. It makes no sense. I mean, it clearly is an effort to undermine Brandon and a walkaway campaign. The big issue that we're facing is reputationally what happens to Brandon and the people on his team and Walkaway. I mean, Walkaway is a not-for-profit, and they live by raising money and getting contributions. If this keeps happening and they hurt his reputation and they continue to try to hurt his reputation and reputation of Walkaway, what happens to them in the future? How do they continue to raise money?
So we've been seeing a lot of groups on the right that get labeled by some of the social media platforms and they get deplatformed, they call it. Brandon, are you facing that anywhere where you're losing your access to social media?
Well, I think in smaller ways. I mean, some of the ways are very difficult to be able to actually prove because they don't just outright deplatform you or ban you, but there's such a thing that's called a shadow ban where you'll be able to post, but your audience can't ever see your post, or a new potential audience aren't able to see what it is that you're saying. Also on a platform like, say, Twitter, I have hundreds of thousands of followers, but they go through and they remove my followers on a regular basis. I mean, it's not an unusual thing for me to get dozens or more private messages from people saying, I used to follow you and Twitter kicked me off. So it's like they're removing your followers to try to inhibit your reach with people.
So they're really, the social media platforms like Jack Dorsey are out there really taking an activist position against stuff they don't like, limiting free speech.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, these are all organizations that have been very specifically pro-Hillary, pro-Democrat. And as we saw recently with the hidden Google video, I mean, they're actively trying to affect the algorithms and actively trying to have impact on the upcoming election.
Hey, Manny, you're going after these guys for $20 million. I can understand the reputational, but what's the real damage here?
The real damage is that if this is an effective modus operandi for organizations to chill speech and to prevent Brandon from conducting events, and they're successful in stopping this, effectively Walkaway will not be able to continue. I mean, Walkaway is a multi-million-dollar not-for-profit. We need to keep that going. So this clearly has an effect, a chilling effect upon fundraising, and we need to make sure that we fight back and we fight hard.
Hey, Brandon, I know Trump is vilified, from the left, but recently he and Ambassador Grenell from Germany have come out and started a campaign to talk to countries around the world about decriminalizing homosexuality. And it seems like although he's trying to do things, he's done other things, I know, to offset that. But the left just cannot give the guy credit for anything.
No, they can't. And, we've seen this in a number of different ways, even with the First Step Act, which I think is, an amazing first step towards rebuilding the Black American family and getting it, unjustly imprisoned people out of prison. But he can't get, any respect for the things that he's done for the Black community, for brown people in America, for LGBT people in America. It is absolutely crucial to the mission of the left to maintain the narrative that this man is a bigot and a racist and a homophobe and a monster. And by extension, organizations like mine, individuals like myself, individuals like Andy Ngo, the reporter who was recently savagely attacked by Antifa.
Yeah, we're gonna be reporting on that in depth. And please bring your message. Keep your message coming here. Tell your hundred thousands of followers that there's a home for you and their message here on Liquid Lunch. I want to thank Manny Alicandro. I want to thank Brendan Straka. And we're going to keep our eye on this issue. You guys need to get anything out there, you come to us, and we're here for you. Liquid Lunch back right after this.